Hope you're all doing well out there today. Let's dive into Clause 10 of ISO 9001 2015, and that is improvements. All right, so we're at the last clause of ISO 9001 2015. All right, finally. So, improvements is important. You have to have a way to show that you are able to improve what you're doing. So, 10.1 is the general clause. And essentially, you as a business needs to show that you have a system in place to document improvements. So you have to have a way to get feedback from your customer and or client, because oftentimes we can improve what we're doing for them. We want to make sure that we are looking at ways of reducing potential for errors, any issues that come up, looking at automation. How can we get away from human error? Also look at non-conformances, because oftentimes that's not really thought of as an improvement. But when you look at a corrective and especially preventive action, out of that oftentimes can be an improvement that you can document. So every business out there is going to do it a little bit different. There's going to be more complicated methods and tools used for certain fields, certain companies, especially in aerospace and nuclear and other more high-tech and more complicated business models out there. Services and maybe some other sectors out there can use something a little simpler. No matter how you as a business captures improvement through a process, a document, it's important that you have it first off and that you're using it, right? Because if you are interested in a good quality system in following ISO principles and going out and get that certification, you have to have a way of showing that third-party auditor that you have something in place and you are using it. It's in your daily work. Because if you're out there doing work for your customer and or client every day, there's always something out there that you can improve upon, even if it's small. Okay, so that is the gist behind 10.1, the general clause under improvements. Have something in place, establish that, use it, get all the information you can from your customer and or client, get it from your employees, and work it. All right, hey everyone, let's continue to move into Clause 10 of ISO 9001 2015. The next one I'm going to dive into is 10.2, and that is the nonconformity and corrective actions. So there's got to be a way that as a business you're tracking issues that come up. And we've already talked about this in previous videos, of course, but to be successful, you have to have that system in place to capture either what you're finding internally as non-conformances issues during whatever you may have set up, a quality audit, or if something comes up from your customer and or client, they may give you a non-conformance for not meeting a requirement they gave you, right? So you have to take customer feedback as a part of that. So again, identifying non-conformances is only the first step, whether you're doing it internal or the customer or client is doing it. But you, as a business, need to take immediate action. All right, you have to contain it as quickly as possible, and then work together as a team. Whoever is impacted, by the non-conformance to find ways to correct it, of course, but ensure that it is prevented. Again, you have to look at your risk, because oftentimes someone might forget to add a risk. It happens. I mean, there's risks everywhere in what we do. We may miss something. So was that risk already identified in your internal system, in your internal processes? If it wasn't, then that could be added as a risk. And you're going to have some kind of action to mitigate it within your process. And if it was identified, then whatever you have in place didn't work. So this allows you to reevaluate it, right? But just remember that this clause is ensuring that business is tracking internally or external from your customer and or client, a way of fixing issues that arise. Because when nonconformances happen, you can take that and turn it into an improvement, which is what Clause 10 is all about. You are trying to find a way to improve what you're doing for your customer and client, because that's what you are meant to do as a business. How can I improve what I'm doing for them, right? So nonconformance can sometimes help you out with that. So that is the gist behind 10.2, having a system in place to capture, document nonconformances, corrective and preventive actions, looking at risks, and just treating it as an improvement. All right, you made it to the last part of Clause 10 in ISO 9001, and the last part of ISO 9001 period. It's 10.3, continual improvement. Continual improvement. So we're always looking at continuously improving what we do. There's different ways that you can capture that, and we've already gone through quite a few of them. You might identify them during audits. Nonconformances might identify improvements. You might get feedback from your customer and or client, where you can improve what you're doing for them. Your employees might just bring up an idea when they're out there working. So to meet this requirement, you have to have something documented. You have to have a system in place, a process, documents. Very important, right? You have to have something for the employees to utilize to document the improvement, because there may be times where your customer and client wants to see it, right? So whether you have a complicated system or a less complicated system, depending on the methods and tools you utilize, it's just important to have a way to improve what we do. No matter how small it may be, there's always something that we can improve in our daily lives, whether at work or at home. So this is an important one, and it's often overlooked by most of the workforce. This is one of those things. It's not my responsibility. It's not my thing. Hey, it's you quality, right? Well, we're all out there doing the work every day, and we want to do things, I would hope, more efficiently, better, and how and what we do, but also for the customer and our client that we're handling, meeting with every single day, right? So whether you have different tools like Pareto charts, histograms, control charts, check sheets, and fishbone diagrams, and all the other fun stuff that you're using to document the improvements. Hopefully there is someone in the business that can assist in identification and documentation, and oftentimes, depending on the sector that a business works in, it can get complicated. But in the end, just remember that how you improve things needs to be for your audience. You need to be able to, of course, explain improvements. Google, look up 8 wastes. I'll put together a short video on that as well. That's something easy to just walk around the workplace and look at the waste that could be in there that you could eliminate, and you could save yourself some time and money, right? So just remember, it's continual. You should always be looking at how you can improve things in your work life and even at home. All right.